A teacher explores the story behind the mugshot of a female high school teacher caught in an affair with her male student, revealing the complexities and consequences of these illegal relationships. The show is created by Hannah Fidell and is based on a movie that Hannah Fidell directed back in 2013 of the same name and stars Kate Mara and Nick Robertson. Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. I am here today to share with you all my thoughts on the first 3 episodes of the new FX on Hulu show, A Teacher, a show that has a very serious subject matter, and I'm here to let you all know what I thought about the first 3 episodes, and if you should check it out in this spoiler-free review. Before we dive into it, as you can see on the screen now, make sure you're following me on all my other social media accounts. That way you all can stay up to date on what's going on over here at Movie Files. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the community. Make sure you all subscribe to the channel, and while you're at it, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my other TV reviews, movie reviews, live streams, all the fun things we do on this very channel. It would mean a lot if you all can give this video a thumbs up. It helps out the channel, but I also really appreciate it. And in the comments, let's discuss this show. Again, this might not be a show for everyone because this is a very serious subject matter. It is involving, child abuse, right? So I definitely want to know what you all thought about this show, if you're going to continue to watch it, and just let me know your pros and cons. Let's just have a good discussion about the show in the comments below. So again, I've never been shy to touch on shows that deal with mental health, racism, discrimination, and now we're covering a show that deals with sexual assault and child abuse, right? So this is a show that I didn't really know too much about going into 2020 calendar, but in the last few weeks, I've, looked up some Hulu things that are premiering this fall, and this came up on my radar. I'm a big fan of these two actors, Kate Mara. I think she's a really underrated actress, and same goes with Nick Robertson. You see him in some of these big blockbusters like Jurassic Park, or you see him in Love, Simon, and more recently on Hulu, you saw him in, Love, Victor. So I like these two actors, and I thought it was going to be really interesting to see them kind of exploring this very, very serious subject matter. So what I want to do with this review, again, this is no spoilers. So if you haven't seen the first 3 episodes, I'm just going to briefly go over the synopsises of each episode and then give you my brief thoughts on the individual episodes. And then by the end of this review, my goal is to let you all know if I think it's something worth checking out and if I will be covering the show on a week-to-week basis. So with that being out of the way, let's talk about the very first episode of A Teacher. So episode 1, Claire starts her first day teaching at a new school and meets her students, including Eric, a senior in her AP English class. So as far as episode 1 goes, I think it did a good job of kind of establishing these characters. We meet Claire, we meet her situation of her being someone that used to live in this town, but went off to college, got married, now she's back teaching at this new school. You kind of get a sense of her personality and how she is as a person. And same goes with Eric. You have Nick Robertson as this senior who's, somewhat a popular kid, but I think the biggest thing that you notice with Eric right off the bat is he seems to be a little bit more mature than some of his other friends. That might due to the fact that he doesn't have his dad in his life. He has his mom who works at night. He kind of takes care of his 2 little brothers. He has a job, so he seems to be definitely a little bit more mature than what you would expect from a 17-year-old. And I think what the first episode did was it really establishes how something like this can happen. Without getting into spoilers, we see kind of how the lines are blurred, where Claire goes to a diner where she meets Eric and finds out, this is my student in my 3rd period. He works at this diner. They have some conversations. She ends up agreeing to help him, tutor him to get ready for the SATs for college next year. And this is where things kind of get really uncomfortable and really inappropriate in regards to the stuff that goes down within this first episode. Again, her meeting him at the diner, her giving him a car ride after they do their tutoring sessions. And then, of course, we get the classic Facebook friend request that definitely, you see Claire, she knows that this isn't the right thing to do, and she's contemplating on if she should accept him as a friend. So again, it shows you how easily something like this can happen. And, to be a little insight on my personal life, I'm not ashamed to say when I was in high school, of course you have that type of conversation with your friends like, oh, that teacher is very attractive. Oh, I would love to hook up with that teacher. But, it's all fun and games when you're a high school student. But at the end of the day, this stuff really happens. And it shows you, this show, I think, did a good job of showing you how easily this stuff can take place, especially if there's not people that's calling out these flaws. Because again, from Everett's perspective, this is like, oh, this is cool. This new, hot, attractive young teacher seems to be someone interesting to me. And then on the reverse side with Claire, she's like, oh, well, this 17-year-old boy seems to be a lot more mature than his friends and seems to have a good career path that he's going on. So you definitely kind of see how these two characters are starting to somewhat have this attraction toward each other, which leads us into the second episode, which basically gives us the plot of Eric gets caught for underage drinking and his new friend helps bail him out. Claire takes Eric on a field trip to a nearby college. So now it's clear in episode 2 that we kind of get more backstory with Claire where she's almost trying to relive her college days. You find out a little bit about her time in college and how she wasn't necessarily got the opportunity to have that college type of life. So when she takes Eric to the college that he wants to go to, there's a party involved and things again kind of get really inappropriate. And we also see a little bit more of Claire's husband, Matt, who again is the same age as Claire. They were, college sweethearts. They got married. They might have never really got the opportunity to kind of explore the college lifestyle. So we now even see Matt, who's a doctor, trying to relive his college days. So you definitely kind of see these characters are, again, they don't see it as like I'm an adult and I don't need to be having this type of relationship with this child, but it's more or less like I'm an adult. Let me try to relive my college days with this child, kind of helping them out, but also getting some alternative motives for myself. So you definitely kind of see those lines definitely being blurred. And you can see the attraction goes from just more of like, I don't want to say friendly flirtation, but it becomes less of that and more of like, okay, there's a serious attraction between these two characters, which the episode ends on a pretty interesting note in regards to Eric kind of takes things to the very next level, which sets up a pretty interesting episode 3. Tensions arise as Claire and Matt explore pregnancy options. Claire chaperones the homecoming dance and Eric comes clean about his true feelings. So with the third and final episode that we got, we can see that Claire and Matt are trying to start a family. But again, going back to episode 2 without getting into the details, as I had mentioned, Matt's trying to kind of relive his glory days and starting up this kind of college band. And, Claire kind of sees that as like, okay, my 30-plus-year-old husband's trying to relive his glory days. But yet this 17-year-old Eric seems to have his head more straight on. He seems to be a little bit more mature on his future. So she's trying to almost kind of shifting to the younger guy versus her husband who's trying to relive his glory days, which is very interesting to see. But again, within this episode, we see Eric, he's now trying to explore another relationship, or I should say he's trying to get back with his ex-girlfriend. And in the middle of all this, Claire recognizes this, right? And this is where things become, some jealousy gets involved. And then Eric's almost playing like mind games with Claire in regards to what he does at the end of episode 2 really not only blurs the lines, but it becomes extremely inappropriate what happens at the end of episode 2. And they kind of take a break from each other. They agree to help, from now on, I'm just going to help you with your SAT and that's it. But then, Eric kind of pushes her off. And again, she becomes jealous. And by the end of the episode, obviously without going into spoilers, things have now completely went off the rails in regards to, okay, this is a completely way inappropriate relationship now that takes place at the end of this episode. But again, without spoilers, but as you can probably assume, what happens at the end of this episode definitely takes place. But nonetheless, the first 3 episodes, again, this is not an easy subject matter, right? This is very interesting too when you look at the media in regards to when you hear about child abuse, in regards to sexual assault. We always see, the men being framed as like the monsters and just how could they do that to someone of a underage. And then you don't really hear about the female side of it, right? And it's almost like the taboo nature, the stigma. I don't believe this, but the stigma of, again, of like if a student that is a male hooks up with a female teacher, it's almost like a notch on that student's belt, right? It's like, oh, you slept with an older woman. But then on the reverse of that, it's not the same conversation. So I'm really intrigued to see how this show paints the picture of Kate Mara's character, Claire, in regards to what she does, how she's taken advantage of Eric. There's a lot of terms that they use within this kind of framing of sexual assault and sexual abuse, whether it be things like grooming, victim selection, gaining access to isolating the victim, trust development and keeping secrets. And there's a lot of different things that you can see within the show. And I'm really just intrigued to see where the show goes. Again, is it going to be a situation where one of the characters are going to want to get out of the relationship, but then the other one kind of blackmail the other character? Again, with things that happen in episode 3, Eric kind of lets it slip that he's kind of seeing someone that's older than him. So it'll be really intriguing to see, number one, the performances by these 2 actors that I like, the direction of the show, the tone of the show, which seems to be, almost kind of not as dramatic as you would think in the first 2 episodes, but by episode 3, it really kind of gets dramatic because the first 2 episodes have this more, it's 2013, 2014 as far as the year that we're in this show, and it has these kind of, popular songs in time, and it has a different tone, but by the 3rd episode, things get really serious. So I'm wondering how the show is going to be able to tackle the tone, tackle the subject matter, and then, of course, see what happens between these 2 characters. So for me, again, I know this show isn't going to be for everyone because it is a very serious subject matter and various, triggering subject matter for a lot of those people that have been sexually assaulted. And with that being said, I'm going to have some links in the description below. So if you or someone you know is a victim of sexual assault, there's a link for information. So if you need someone to talk to, it's an anonymous call line that you guys can reach out to. And I'm always here too if you guys want to talk about anything. That's the beauty of this channel, is I'm here for you all. It's not just a matter of entertainment and just talking about these shows and movies we love, but also just helping one another out, because it's a crazy world out there, and sometimes we all need someone to kind of lean on. So I can be that for you all, or again, if you are someone that is a victim of abuse, I'll have those information for those links in the description below. So for me, I'm going to continue to watch the show. I will continue to cover this on a weekly basis. I believe these episodes will drop every single Tuesday. They're only, I didn't even mention, these episodes are like 25 minutes, less than 30 minutes. So they're super quick binges, which I think benefits a show like this. It doesn't feel like it's over welcoming and stay. The cinematography is fine. The direction seems to be pretty solid. The, again, the director of the show, the creator, directed a movie based on this. So the subject material and the basis of it is there by the creator. So I'm going to cover it every week, and if you guys want to join in the conversation, definitely do so, because I'll be here every week talking about this show, A Teacher. So if you guys can do me a favor, make sure you leave your comments below what you thought about these episodes. Will you continue to watch? And let's just discuss it, right? Again, your pros and your cons and everything in between. So thank you all for watching this review. If you haven't already, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below. As always, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss any of my other content. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope you're staying safe, and we'll see you all on the next video.